Good evening and welcome to the Highgate Selectboard meeting. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. Are there any public comments that are not on the agenda? Okay, so we're going to just step out of order for just a second, in case we have anyone that's here for the transfer station bank stabilization requests for proposals. So we had 6 bids for the transfer station. Bird's Eye Construction at $2,092,500. JW Tatro Construction at $2,272,000. J. Hutchins, $1,992,200. JP Sicard for $2,387,000. King's Trucking for $1,175,000. And Wright's Excavating for $1,989,600. The select board has reviewed and questioned some of the bids. At this time, I'd make a motion to accept a bidder.
I'll make that motion.
To accept.
Rights?
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No discussion? Okay. All right.
He keeps leaving and coming back in.
For service, maybe? Okay, so that is the bid for the transfer station construction. Goes to Wright's Excavating with $1,989,600. That is not the low bid, but it is at the discretion of the select board to consider all aspects of a bid. Okay, moving on. So I believe we have lots of people from Quarry Lane here today. All right. So do you have a spokesperson?
Private products.
Okay, I will be the spokesperson then. Just to summarize a little bit,
Can I ask just a question first?
sure.
Who's here? Can I have a raise of hands who's here from Quarry Lane? Okay, thank you. I didn't know exactly what it was, so thank you.
Just to summarize a little bit, Quarry Lane is a road that has its front abutment to Fulton Road next to the quarry. I'm sure everybody knows what the quarry is. The other end of the road is a cul-de-sac. It's part of the development that has been around for about 26 years and has just been able to be brought up to the specifications for an A76 road. So it took us a while to do it, but it's finally there. The Development Review Board of Highgate agreed that it is up to that specification now, so all the swales, the viaducts, and the paving, everything needs to be done. So it's a perfect road, it's brand new. Most people think that it will not need any attention for about 10 years, so it's in pristine condition right now. There are 7 people right now that live adjacent to Quarry Lane. They use Quarry Lane for their access to their property. Within probably about a year, there'll be 2 more people, because 2 more houses are going to be built. So therefore, there'll be a total of 9 people that use Quarry Lane as access to their property. There is the concept that taxpayers and homeowners pay their taxes with the idea that the town will provide services that are not easy for an individual person to do. So Some of the services are certainly police, fire, schools, ambulance, and so the idea is that there is a number of people that have people that go to school, and they have normally had to trudge up Quarry Lane in the winter cold and in the winter night in order to catch a school bus. But since the road has been completed, the bus comes into Quarry Lane and picks up people outside their houses, which is a lot safer situation because there's more people that, well, traffic is pretty bad at that time of the day. So there's also a few people that don't have children, and they don't have the benefit of the school tax that they pay. And from their point of view, Quarry Lane can be enjoyed, if you will, or something that we use every day that makes our life a little easier. So we're asking the town to accept Quarry Lane as part of their network of roads that go through the town and maintain it and take ownership of it. So we would look forward to a very favorable decision on this in our part. Thank you.
Okay, so the town has had our engineer go and look at the road along with our highway or public works foreman. Do you want to speak to that first, or shall I review his notes?
Review his notes.
Okay. All right. So the engineer is saying that actually, no, it does not meet the standards for development roads of A76, and that it would not meet the B71 commercial and residential drives standards. He's asking if any of the inspection intervals were completed. Says inspections, all highway designs, including cuts and fill plans, surveys, layouts, rights of way, utility locations, road construction sites, preparation, construction, shall be inspected by the select board or its designee. The select board may require samples of material used for construction to ensure adherence to the minimum standards of state specifications. It may inspect the road site as follows: before clearing, before stumping, after rough grading, upon completion of subgrading, during graveling, before paved surface treatment, and final inspection. He did a quick spot check, he writes, on the roadway width, and he said the pavement was about 21 feet 3 inches in width, less than required. Minimal traveled way width of the road shall be 22 feet, not including the shoulders. He questions the subgrade. Said this is a very important part of the roadway construction. It's very difficult to inspect after the fact. Really no way of knowing if this was done correctly for the entire stretch of Quarry Lane. Also in the subbase. Oh, same comment. Paving, I did a quick spot check. They have about 3.5 inches of total pavement, which is a bit more than required. However, it sounds like they paved a narrow base pavement pass, then went back and paved the shoulders, then did a separate surface course. Again, they had a 21-foot 3-inch of total pavement width at my spot check location, which is narrower than required. Culverts, he says headers not constructed. 18-inch culvert does not appear to be in this low spot of the ditch, but this was not verified by the survey. Many of the culverts did not have sufficient cover. At least one driveway culvert was not sized to minimum standards of 15 inches. Driveway, no, intersections. The intersection of Quarry Lane and Fortin Road appears not to meet the minimum line of sight to the northeast. Fortin is posted 35 miles an hour, which requires a 390-foot minimum sight distance. The survey was not completed to verify, but a rough measurement was taken to be less than 350 feet to the northeast. The line of sight is obstructed by the vertical curve or hill on the Fortin Road. So that was our engineer, Tyler Billingsley, who the town keeps on contract. So he is questioning the yes, there you go. Whether or not it actually is up to A76 standards. I can understand why you would want to have your road paved. I can also understand why it was assumed it would be taken over by the town. We are at a position in the town where that becomes more and more difficult as we grow without doing some major infrastructure revamping. Richard, you're our road commissioner. Do you want to speak to that?
Just where we are right now in town is, we're gonna have to have more trucks, more men. You know, you guys aren't the only ones that have asked to have their road taken over, and as it is, you know, that's one of our biggest things right now is putting on more men, putting on more trucks. We're trying to keep our taxes down, and I think right now we're doing that. But
that truck goes by Quarry Lane every time they plow. Goes all the way down the end of Fortin Road. It's 2/10 of a mile down to that cul-de-sac. And I don't see any reason why that truck can't pull into Quarry Lane, make one loop in and one loop out. I mean, he's not asked to be traveling 2 miles, 5 miles to do a separate road. It's right in the lane of what he's doing already. Okay?
And I do agree. The thing is that we've got others too. If we start taking on one, we're gonna have to take on a bunch of others, and you're not the only ones, and eventually, like I said,
But we've upgraded through Pete, you know, they've upgraded that road, and, you know, pretty much to what the town is expecting, and still you're saying that it's not up to standard, and you need more manpower to take care of a road that you go right by. The amount of money that you put in Fortin Road with grading and plant mix and everything else, you know, every year, right? And you can't come in and do Quarry Lane.
and that's another thing, and we've got people out there that are saying, like Fortin Road, why don't we put more into that and pave it? And, you know, should we be taking care of our dirt roads first and getting them paved before we take on all these other places? You know, it's just, you know, it's...
We've been at this I've been living there for 7 years. This has been a subject since we've lived there.
Yeah.
And through Pete and his upgrades and our cooperation with everybody, including the board here, that, you know, I think we should, you know, be looked at a little closer than what you are right now. I mean, it's, you know, we're doing our part. We're paying our taxes. We're making sure everything's done right.
We understand that, and we do know that there are lots of other people that would like their private roads taken over. Part of the reason the town asked for that A76 standard isn't necessarily just for a plow truck, but also for the fire truck, the ambulance, the police,
Well, we have ambulances and fire trucks come into our Quarry Lane on not a regular basis, but from time to time.
Can I actually speak?
Yes.
Hi everyone, my name is Kathy Benway, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of a background on what I do at my house. I take care of the elderly at Quarry Lane. I take care of 2 residents. They don't qualify for nursing homes, and they don't fit the criteria for long-term hospital stays. And I'm sure at one time, or if not in the future, you'll be in the same situation, you know, coming and finding a home. And either it's going to be your father, your brother, your sister, your spouse. You're going to be wanting to look for a home like I provide. You know, it's a forever home. It's also an end-of-life home, you know, so where that patient doesn't have to worry. The family doesn't have to worry about their loved ones, you know, getting medical treatment, being taken care of, not just being placed in a nursing home, being neglected, brought into a private home and being loved and cared for. You guys are going to want that. I want to make sure when I look at these family members and say, your loved one is safe with me. I'm going to take 100% care of them, no matter what it takes. You will see me out there at midnight, snow blowing. When the contractors for snow removal that we've hired call it quits for the night, I'm out there snow blowing to make sure if there's a medical emergency, the ambulance can get in and out quickly, you know? And these lives that I take care of are so extremely critical and so fragile. But again, they don't fit hospital criteria. No nursing home will take them. So a medical emergency is of the utmost essence for them to get in, ambulance, fire. And I do have ambulance coming in quite regularly. Not so much the fire trucks, that's your gig. You know, we need help. We honestly need help, because if there was a fire and our contractor guy wasn't plowing, would my house burn with my granddaughter, with my residents inside? I need that help. You know, I want to look at these people in the future and be like, absolutely. You know, the fire department won't have any trouble getting in. The police won't have any trouble getting in. And the ambulance sure in the hell won't have any trouble getting in.
Can I ask you a question first?
Absolutely.
What's your name?
Kathy Benway.
Kathy, I want to thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you that takes a strong individual to do that, and I want to thank you from my heart, because I take care of my mom. She's in a different place, but I can appreciate what you're doing, and I can appreciate what you're doing for those people close to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Could I add on to Kathy's comment also? There could be a situation where you have significant snow and 40 Road has been plowed, and yet our contractor hasn't gotten around to our place yet, where there would be a need for an ambulance to come in and you have 4 feet of snow. So the person's life may be in danger in this case, and they're can't get the emergency vehicles to them. So it seems to me that this is a very critical aspect of taking care of Quarry Lane.
There was Travis Raymond, 139 Quarry Lane. There was a similar situation with our neighbor Kathy, where we did end up getting a lot of snow one day. Contractor was not available, just like Mike just explained. One of her helpers was stuck, and I just happened to be home that day, and I was able to help guys side by side, and I was able to pull them out. Now, if I wasn't home and that person was stuck and say they had to bring this resident to the hospital, they would have never made it. And there was about a foot of snow out there, and mind you, the contractor was did plow, I think, earlier in the day, but, as he said, they have other areas to cover. Now with Mr. Flint, and I don't know if you remember me, I was on your cross-country team. I don't think you have to hire anybody else. It's literally right there, and it would probably take maybe 5 extra minutes to plow and salt. And it would help Kathy and all the other neighbors here, especially with our children going to school, to maintain that road. We're not asking for much. We can draw the line and just say, plowing only, or whatever. But I think this is very crucial. When we moved in 5 years ago, we were always told that when Pete fixed the road, that we would have, the town would take over. And here we are today as a neighborhood, coming to you.
Yeah, actually, in the general provisions of our road acceptance policies, that is the policy of the select board to entertain application for the acceptance of the public highways and roadways, and to adopt and adhere to an orderly procedure for the receipt of and acting upon such applications. The decision regarding acceptance of a highway is reserved to the sole and absolute discretion of the select board, who will consider the granting or denial of acceptance on the best interest of the inhabitants of the town of Highgate. And this was dated 2005.
That was a year out of high school.
Long time ago.
Yeah, it was.
Can I add just one thing, that we don't keep a 24-hour highway going, that we go around, it takes us 4 hours to go around, so you won't have a bare road all the time. To think that the town is going to, every time there's snow or whatever, you can call and have us come down because your road is snowing, it's impossible.
No, but wait a minute, Coach. I think you do a better job than you're saying. Because I know that your guys are out there at 3 o'clock in the morning plowing.
We do our best,
And
yeah.
our contractors are not. I also know that you guys, that when there's still snow and ice on the road, you wait till it warms up and the ice gets soft, and you'll come down and plow it again in order to get the ice off the road. And thirdly, when you guys put down sand, it's not just sand alone, it's sand and salt. So really, you do a much better job than we could ever hope to, or a contractor could hope to. So I think you should undersell yourself. We appreciate what you do, and we think you do a good job on it. So I think that's something that should be pointed out to the board. And if I have half a minute here, Pete, do you want to respond to some of the road situations that were brought up in Karen's report?
Well, yeah, okay. It's, I don't know where you measured 21.3, but I thought it was, and I paid for 22 feet paved road. And I do have pictures of, as it was built, as we were putting in the new culverts and everything. I have all these pictures. They're on my telephone, but it doesn't do much good. I can have these pictures made so everybody can see them. And the cul-de-sac, when I redid the cul-de-sac, I do have pictures of all this so we can see. Actually, it was built above the A76 standard. I'd say probably about 20% above that. And he may have found the 21.3 or whatever it was, but that's not a constant thing. It was just, could be just something. But I've been working on this road for, oh boy, 15 years.
Yes, I know there've been a variety of issues.
So I guess my question is, since when we had our engineer go look at that, and when you had work completed, at some point, when was the work completed compared to what they were asking for? Because it sounds to me there may have been a disconnect, and I may be wrong, but it would, to be able to get to what you were asking for, if you just recently had some work done.
I just had it paved last summer.
Okay, so it was done last summer?
Yes.
And these were done?
2 weeks ago?
Month, maybe. Month ago, see.
I just wanted to make sure that I could connect the dots, that's all.
And you are correct, it may only take 5, 10, 15, maybe it takes a half an hour to do Quarry Lane, but it also takes a half an hour to do Boone Drive, it'd like to be taken over. It takes a half an hour to do half a dozen other private development roads that also want to be taken over. So it does add up. It's not just Quarry Lane, and that speaks to kind of what Richard's getting at, is we've got to find a way to let the infrastructure match what we've got and to take care of everything. Right now, yes, the onus to get a contractor and a decent contractor that'll come in and plow and salt your road is unfortunately on you as the homeowners association, or on Pete, however your association is drawn up. I'm happy to look at it again. You know, the board can take a road trip, look at it, but I can't guarantee that we will change our mind. But we are willing to give you a noticed hearing, as is your right, and have it publicly warned at a select board meeting.
Has a decision already been made?
No, we're
Oh.
taking your testimony as evidence, basically.
And the other thing, and tell me if I'm wrong, guys, I'm not an expert on roads or anything, but one of the reasons to have the A76 standard, is it, that we call it? To make sure that if a truck that's full of sand and salt goes around the corner and it's built properly, that it can hold that road. We don't want to put anybody else or any machinery or anybody's property in damage as well. That's probably one of the reasons why the standard has been set, so. those
Sellers
trucks
comes
can-
down on a weekly basis, and they're loaded up pretty good, they probably know.
That's a great point. I'm not down there, I don't know where you are. I know where Quarry Lane is, but I don't know where you are, but
Right.
that's a great point.
Yeah, they come down on a weekly basis, and we've had delivery trucks, tractor trailers that come down off that road on the Ford making deliveries. Yeah, on a regular basis, so I don't see any reason that the road would be torn up by a salt truck coming in a couple times a day or once a week or whatever the case may be in the case of a storm. So it's held up pretty well so far.
The base on this road was all sand to begin with. You know, everything was taken off the top and down to the sand and then started building. So, you know, it has a good base. And it was all stone.
Do you have, like you said, I'm not a road expert, but do you have the contractor specs of what you spec'd out and what they put down? Some of this subgrade stuff that I'm reading about, saying it's not thick enough, blah, blah, blah. Do you have-
Basically, I did it.
You did, okay.
Yes, I have my own equipment and I did it.
Okay.
But I hired somebody to come in and do all the paving. I did the ditching, the culverts. Well, actually, I had somebody else come in and replace the culverts because the culverts were undersized. They were 15 inches where they had to be 18 inches. But it's all been built to standard. And again, I have a picture. I took pictures through the whole process.
So I feel everybody's pain. I live down on Tanglewood, moved there in '03. I don't know if you guys know about that, but Butch can probably attest to it. He's been there that long, I think. We tried to get it taken over by the town. It took almost 10 years because we weren't up to, I didn't know about A76 and all that until I started hanging out with these guys. But it wasn't up to standards, and it took us almost 10 years to get to that standard where the town finally took it over to include, I think we had some kind of really bad drainage system, and we had to tear everything up and redo it. And one thing I do commend is you're all together as a group. That's awesome, because it's like herding cats. Get the neighbors together to show up for something like this. So get on there, good on you for that. It looks like, from what I'm reading on here, we can talk about this more, it looks like you guys are very close to meeting the A76 standard. So, and we can talk to Butch and the engineer again and see how close we are to this. I don't want to make an excuse, and I hate, because I'm a taxpayer like all y'all, one of those southern drawl coming out. The manpower thing is an issue here, like Sharon was saying, with trying to take over new roads. We'd love to take over every road. I want them to take over my road. but my road's nowhere near as good as your road right now. But the manpower is a big thing, which is not what you want to hear, but it's a factor. The labor shortage is affecting the town. So any extra roads we take on is going to affect the town. Going back to just your road itself, just to repeat myself, I think we're close. I'm not speaking for the board, I'm speaking for myself. You guys are very close to getting it up to the standard. It's not quite there yet from what I'm reading on the engineer report, and this is all public domain, you guys can have it too. So maybe you can get it up to standard and we can have this discussion again, and we're not making a decision right now, so.
Can they, if they were to perform another inspection, can they actually do a thorough report? Because based on the report that we just heard, it was, you know, he thought it was, you know, some of the things that you said in the report were based on assumption, and I think we should have actual data to back what that report says up.
I think that comes at a lot greater cost, to be honest, because I would expect that would have to actually be dug up and tested. But I can ask Butch that question.
Well, I just want to say that the town is going to have a lot of problems the way the developers are doing these developments. My understanding was, I mean, I've only taken over a few years, that the developer hires an engineer that makes the development and then throws it on the town to inspect it after. I think the developer is responsible for building it, and his engineer, none of the developments have the facts, the documents. The engineer signs off as it goes along, which is very important. They're leaving it to the town to decide whether it was done. And there's tests you can do that, you know, Pete's had me down there, or one of the highway foremen down there. I remember going down with one of them to look at what you've done. I just think it should have been, everything should have been recorded, not leave it to the highway department, leave it to the engineers to document it right straight through, so that we wouldn't have this. You'd have the documents, and so the town would just, it's their decision, that board's decision to take this over.
Right, it wouldn't be a he said,
There's no
she said, or an assumption,
Right.
it would, you'd have the
And
document.
I hear it on all these developments. The developer says the town's gonna take it over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just what I hear.
Well, at least since 2005, and I don't know, I don't have the revision prior to that, but we know that since at least 2005, that it was not a guarantee that the town would take over any road. But, as I said, we can certainly look into it further. We can have a public hearing, like I said, is your right to do so. If you have more evidence, if you have engineering documentation for some of these, you know, by all means, if you can submit it to the town, that would be great. Whether that be pictures or who your engineer was or whatever you have.
In the time span, I've had like 3 engineers, you know, but I do have pictures that were taken as it was built and rebuilt.
Sharon, one thing that would help us would be specific objections that the board has to the road. We understand the manpower one, that's pretty good, but there seem to be other objections that the board would have, and if we know what they are, maybe we can address them.
Well, I think the engineer is basically what we're going off, is that he's saying it doesn't meet the standards based on inspections, subgrade, subbase, paving width, culverts, and intersection line of sight.
Is this the town's engineer?
This town is contracted as the engineer of record for the town, yes.
That's what I was referring to. It sounded like assumptions that were made in a lot of the report. Just my take on that.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't by any means spend 10 grand on a survey with them.
Butch, by chance, have you seen it since the changes have been made that Mr. Plunket's talking about?
Right. I just took the engineer there and
Okay,
showed him the road, and
okay.
that was that's all his findings.
Okay, that was 2005 though?
No,
No,
that was a month
that's just
ago.
the road acceptance.
That's where I'm trying to connect that. I'm trying to connect those dots because we got
This
this
is
piece.
a month ago.
Okay, good, thank you.
This was the most recent.
Gotcha, okay. I apologize, everyone. I'm new here. This is my first real meeting that I've had with the public, so if you could just work with me, I appreciate it. But thank you.
So I would like to respectfully ask, how many roads or development roads that like we live on have been taken over in the last 7 to 10 years by the town? Can I ask that? They
In the
have, there
last
have been
7
some.
years, one, that I know of.
One?
Yeah.
Would one of them have been Duso Road by any chance?
No,
No?
no, but they'd like to.
Are you able to tell us what road?
Stack Boulevard.
I'm just curious as to how many.
Yeah, no, it was only one.
Is it a big road or just?
It's, how many
It's
houses
a little
on
longer
that?
than yours,
There's probably
maybe.
a dozen,
Yeah, a
dozen.
dozen houses probably.
doesn't help. I'm just curious as to that.
Yeah, we have application for several others.
Highgate is a growing community.
It is, absolutely.
Leaps and bounds. and,
Absolutely.
So I think you're gonna have more of these as time goes on.
Well, and I think the town really does not need to stop and think how to pay for this and how to figure out how to provide these services to everyone. My father lives on a class 4 road and it's not plowed in the winter at all except for the end where they plow up the snow. So, yeah, I gotcha. I understand.
Question,
Sure.
has Pete received a copy of the latest engineer's report?
Have you seen the documentation from the,
No.
okay, we can make you a copy and give it to you.
Wendy has my email address.
Yes, I do.
Actually, I think I can actually give you a copy here. I had a copy from last meeting. So this is a copy, mine happens to be in red where the engineer was, but he's gotten a little, gotten little boxes around his comments. You can have that.
So, this next question, so Pete brought, quote unquote, our road up to assume some new standard, correct? Based on his engineer's findings, or based on his engineer, but yet we, the town brought in an engineer and they found stuff.
Issues.
Issues. But yet Pete's engineer we assumed, built it to what we assume the standard is, so.
Pete, did you have an engineer do it, or is that something that you did?
No, I had an engineer design the whole thing.
Originally, yes.
And we redid it once I went in for the last 3 lot subdivision, which was last year.
Which was Cross, right? It was Cross,
Yes,
was the
Cross
last, Cross was the
Consulting,
last engineer that touched our development.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so, yeah, I mean, any evidence you have from Cross or, that would be certainly admissible.
And he's based, this engineer is based on the state certifications, right? State standard?
Yes, they got both
That we
are.
comply with is the state
He said
standard.
it's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah, how come it was never done right the first time?
I didn't own the development.
Pete, how come it wasn't done right the first time?
Because it wasn't a major subdivision, it was a minor subdivision back then. The
Exactly.
bylaws have changed and,
The bylaws. I think it's time to change the bylaws about it, and have all these roads just done right the first time, we wouldn't be here at all. This whole thing just went on and on and on. Been there 20 years next year. Dredge was gonna be done, when the closing, it was gonna get done, you know? One of those, so. Yeah, I hear you now. You don't even have to answer the question. I know the answer. It's just been dribbled along for 20 years.
I understand that, I know that, there has been some,
Yeah, you ain't, I
Action.
hear you, you know, yeah, I just want to say it out there.
I mean, you know, to comment on that is whoever was at town meeting day, I believe Henry Rainville pretty much, you know, nailed it. Like, why are we allowing, you know, developers to come in and comply with the hopes, quote unquote, the town may not take it over, but like, you know, echo Glenn, it's like when someone wants to come in and improve our town, have a beautiful development, step one, you gotta pave the road. You gotta bring it up to that standard, you know? And I mean, we're Highgate, it's just a small community. We're not, you know, Burlington, you know, we were St. Albans, but it's like, continue to have these issues. You know, this is, and I apologize for being late, but, you know, there's a lot of money in this room that contributes to the town. It probably maybe said, maybe not said, I'll repeat it. People here, you know, everybody in this room makes a dang good living, and, you know, and we're a good neighborhood.
Yep.
Probably one of the best around, and quiet neighborhood. With all due respect, we are, and we're not asking for much. But it's just a runaround and a runaround and a runaround from the town. I'm sorry, it's a runaround. It's a
I
runaround.
don't think it was the town that
But-
was the problem.
But now this gentleman has spent time, the money, whatever, to assume to bring it up to a standard that he has done, and now we have another person come in and say, no, he hasn't. Another delay in our eyes. I'm not gonna say, I can't speak for anybody else in this room, I'm gonna speak for Kathy Bowmill. I feel it's another delay. We're the ones who've been there the longest in this development. We have lived through it all, right? And again, it's time, right? And we're just like, nothing happened, nothing here happened tonight. And this gentleman who has, you know, worked on this development from day one, didn't even have a copy of the findings until I asked, does Pete see a copy of the findings? And this was 2 weeks ago. How fair is that to Pete? That we had to ask tonight to have this gentleman have the copy of the report. You see what I'm saying here? Right?
I'm gonna be politically correct and tell you that the gentleman was the owner of the property,
Right.
and it was his responsibility, not the town's, to chase. It is the town's responsibility to overlook and try to make sure everyone is treated fairly and provide services. But this gentleman made the money from the development. And as part of that agreement was to meet the A76 standards, which took him 20 years to do.
Agreed.
That unfortunately was not the town's fault, but it was helped along by the town's, what do I want to say? The town's persuasion, we'll call it.
Well, agreed, agreed, and I hope a lot is being learned by this. a
So,
lot.
is there a way, you said that you had an engineer that assessed the roads?
Yes.
So is there a way that, and they're both state certified, to compare his engineer's notes with these engineer notes? And then, I don't know, I mean, you're gonna see discrepancies either way, I'm sure. So how do we solve that?
We'd probably have to have the two engineers come together.
Right. And then, say, for the sake of this
Town would have to pay
discussion,
for ours, and
say his engineer is
we
right
would have to
and
pay for his.
the town's engineer is wrong, then what? Do we reconsider taking over the road?
Depends on what the findings were.
Right. No, I'm just saying hypothetically, if his engineer was right and the town's engineer was wrong, which a lot, and, you know, forgive me, but there was a lot of assumptions made in that report. I haven't seen his report, but I would like to. And then, and maybe submit it to the town and have you folks read it, and then go based on facts, not assumptions. I think that we should have at least one more meeting to discuss this, and then, because, you know, we're here for the facts today, not for assumptions.
Right, and that's where you're assuming that the town is going to take it over, and it was never written that way.
Yeah, but how are we to know that? There's nothing in anybody's deeds about this at all.
Well, and of course, the town doesn't, you know, we don't deem what's in your deed, but that's why they have this road acceptance policy.
Now, as far as the road in just one spot or whatever, that he measured 21.3, I paid the blacktoppers to, you know, it had to be 22 feet wide by, it was 1,800 feet long.
Right.
If they didn't do it, you know, they messed up 7 inches or something like that in 1 or 2 spots, pretty hard to keep track of it and, you know, put it back on the engineer.
Yeah, I would have to see, you know, what kind of expense it would be to the town to come in and do a proper investigation if that was warranted, and, you know, maybe Cross has documentation that would serve that purpose.
Could you explain the culverts? Again, that's a sore subject for some of us, but what was the reason for them bringing up the culverts? Thank you.
He says headers not constructed. 18-inch culvert does not appear to be in the low spot of the ditch, but this was not certified or verified by survey. Many of the culverts did not have sufficient cover. At least one driveway culvert was not sized to minimum standards of 15-inch.
Did they indicate what lot?
That's a line.
Did they indicate which lot or which house?
He did not.
So how could he correct that? We don't know which one he meant.
I bet if he got with Butch, Butch would know.
55 Quarry Lane?
That's my law
Yep. Okay.
with the small culvert. But I waited about 10 years to get the road paved, because it was always getting paved next year, next year, next year. So I finally paved my driveway right out to the new pavement out there. And 6 months later, Pete comes over, tells me he's gonna dig all the new driveway up and where the culvert is, and put a great big ditch across our lawn. I know, again, this is what, 13, 14, 15 years later. And I told him, no, you're not cutting my brand new driveway out there and putting another crease in it and another joint in it, because that'll probably just frost out too, so that's why that culvert's not done right there.
But it wasn't necessary. It was in a bit that flowed.
Right, it was in a meeting that we held here months ago.
Yeah,
Who wanted a culvert, who did not want a culvert? We agreed not to.
right.
Mike and Marie agreed to. We were
But since it's been done, since Mike's was
Right.
done, you haven't had a problem.
We never had a problem.
Never had that.
We've never had a problem.
Yeah.
We're on-
I don't think I've had a bucket of water go through my culverts in 20 years I've been there.
And we proved that. Interesting.
And the other culverts were upgraded, the one at the top of the street and the one down between, well, roughly around Keely's house, about between Keely and Travis's house, the culvert that goes there, that was replaced, wasn't it, Pete?
Yes,
Yeah,
there was a 15 and we put in an 18.
right. So those have been replaced, been brought up to standard. I don't know which ones he's talking about.
Well, it sounded like the,
Can we get more clarification on that?
Only two culverts in the road, other than the one that goes across his driveway.
Yeah, fine. My dog.
Can I ask how many other private roads are looking to be taken over by the town? You said there are quite a few.
there are quite a few. A number, I can't do it off the top of my head.
Well,
You-
10, 20, 30.
I was gonna say, you may have better information on that than we do, right?
I'm asking,
Yeah.
we're trying to understand what the problems are with the town taking over our roads.
No, I was just asking you
You would
because you're on
know.
the, I think you're on the DRB, you know how many
Development.
developments are going in?
Have you had anybody come to the?
Well, there are people that come with projects, but not necessarily what the culverts are gonna be and what's going to happen.
At some point, they have to present that though, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. I was on the DRB as well, that's why I kind of know a little bits and pieces about it. But that's why I was asking, I didn't know if you knew how many down the road were coming up for developments for kind of along what these guys were talking about, so, thank you.
So just for an analysis, if for every 5, per se, roads the town manages, Bruce, for which I apologize, how many more do we have increased people power? Like if we say the town can't take any more roads on because of people power, because of the equipment. So it's like, do you need 3 more roads? You need to put on 3 more guys or girls or whatever, or is it 1 more road? I mean, we're probably maxing the crew out right now. I'm not gonna lie, they're maxed spread out, right? We have 1 truck down, you're not gonna get plowed right for the next day. I understand that. But if everything's, we're rocking and rolling, if everybody's doing their job, and Butch will come to say to you, yeah, we're gonna take on 3 more roads, 4 more, you gotta give me 2 more people. I need 3 more people, I need X amount of equipment, which is now costing us money, right? Because we are probably maxed right out. So I guess we're just 1 story versus how many more, so in other words, Butch's crew goes right down our road, probably 10 minutes per se of time to go down our road and come back again, times whatever, how many times you gotta go up and down our road in snowfall. That's not adding another guy or girl on a truck, you know what I'm trying to say, is like, how many more do we need to put on more equipment to make it feasible without killing our people too, right? Because it's a, you know, double-edged sword here too, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And I think you bring up a great point, because this is probably an opportunity to speak to and look at what's happening around our community in Highgate, and there maybe have to be some fees that are maybe in there for building, impact fees or something along those lines. I'm not saying it, but it just brings up from some discussion for what has to happen in the future.
Right.
Which actually is happening on the planning commission, is they're looking at fees for developers to help pay for infrastructure, like a new plow truck or more people to help out. So I mean, we want them to have a little skin in the game too.
Right. And 3 more roads could cost us another $1 million. Really, for the equipment, the upkeep, the crew. It doesn't stop just at plowing, right?
Right.
The
Right.
paving, the whatever, the upkeep, the maintenance.
Yeah, 'cause
Can
I
the town
know,
afford that? You know, it gets down to, can the town afford it, right? I mean, we're 1 little story here, right? And we definitely want it, as you know, we're here tonight.
Well, yes,
But
absolutely.
The bigger picture is, every 3 roads, every 4 more miles, 5 more miles per se, you put on, costs the town another $500,000 or whatever. Just for crazy analysis,
Right.
right? Yeah.
but yeah, you guys have an advantage because you have a homeowners association.
We don't.
Oh, you
No,
do
no,
not.
No,
You do not.
no,
It's a road,
It's an honor system.
yeah.
It's a road agreement. That's all.
So, who holds stormwater permits?
stormwater permit,
Yeah.
we never had to get them. It's all sand.
Okay, that might be a problem, because see, that's the reason we never took over Boone Drive, which is, we go right by them as well, and it's because they don't have a homeowners association that takes over the stormwater permits, so that the town doesn't have to do that.
Just a road agreement, I'm sorry for, no, it's just a road agreement that basically was, if I can speak on Pete's behalf, Pete's lawyer designed Timmy Holbert back in the day.
Probably, yeah.
And basically, it would say that us here in this room would be responsible for maintaining the road and paving the road. Then there was a meeting after our development switched around, and we met at Pete's house, and the verbal agreement was we would pay for the plowing, but Pete would pay for maintaining the road. It was verbal. There's no agreement, and I can say right now that this, again, our development has flipped over again, and I can almost say that there's no new signatures, there's no updated agreement regarding the homeowners association, or the homeowners with the land road agreement. So, in this room tonight, yes, we need to update it. I believe Pete would be the one that could drive it. Probably have Timmy redevelop it, redesign it, because right now it says that we are responsible for maintaining, so all of a sudden we start getting potholes on that road, we're gonna have to be legally responsible for maintaining that road, because it does say in the agreement, we're responsible for maintaining and plowing.
So are you the only one on that agreement?
Legally, I think Kathy, were you on that agreement, Kathy?
I am.
So it's you, us, and Michael, that's it.
I have no idea.
I don't think Michael's on it, so you probably just say, just because Travis, no, because it would have been Manhattan, Manhattan's been gone for a while, so just this room, that's
She
it.
was all, it was the prior
Right,
owners before they bought
right,
that.
so basically, yeah, it was Kathy, and that was it.
I'm not here, your legal advice,
No,
my
but-
suggestion would be,
Yep.
yeah,
Susan later.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you could get stuck with,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
And it has to be filed with the town, and it has to be filed in everybody's deed.
Yes, when we can take care of the filing. Okay. All right. See what you can get from your engineer.
Okay.
Everyone signed in tonight? Okay, sign in so that we can contact you after. Once we see some literature from Cross, and then we can talk to our engineer, and maybe they can come to some kind of agreement on what that means. And we'll talk with Butch and the select board and see where we go from there. But we'll do it in a public hearing, so you all have access to it, and you all have a chance to have your say. So, and to answer your question, I don't know if it's $500,000, and I don't know if it's 2, 3, or 10 more roads, but we are at that tipping point. So we have to have a big town discussion about how we do this.
Agreed, especially we're allowing more developments, more houses being built, right?
Right,
After
absolutely.
3 houses should be, rolled up.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it hits the bottom line of the town. And I don't know how many you have on your crew right now, 3, 4 people, full-timers, part-timers, plus the age of our equipment is aging out, and we know it, we're asking for money for that. Yeah, everything factors in.
Okay, do you have any more questions for us?
Well, just a question. Are we going to leave this hearing open until we get more information and more documents? Is it going to be a letter of how much we've accomplished here tonight, or is that going to wait until a further hearing? What's your decision, Sharon?
Oh, so a visit maybe. They make a,
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask the board, because I'm only one of 5. Ladies and gentlemen, would you like to leave the hearing open and meet again after more documentation?
Absolutely.
Yes, more documentation.
Absolutely.
We're leaving it open and looking for more documentation from Pete.
Say, please put a time limit on that.
Yeah, how, are you talking about?
Probably, yeah. I'll have to get in touch with Cross and
Okay, so the second select board meeting in June?
Both of May's meetings are pretty packed. Trying to fit stuff in with
That's right,
our
we're still in
transition. So, I don't know what you want to do.
1st of June?
The first one in June.
Yeah,
We have 2 in May, 2 in June, 1 in July.
so let's do the 1st of June, does that work?
As quick as we can get that information.
And then, yeah, the faster you can provide documentation, the more time that everyone will have a chance to go through it, look at it, ask questions, ask our engineer questions, ask our highway department questions.
And you're saying that we have to get have to do the homeowners association?
Legally, I'm not telling you anything, but
yes.
I'm concerned that there's no one that's responsible for the stormwater permit. And
See, we would never need it.
yeah, Mike can speak to that, whether that's, how that plays into the zoning.
It's already passed the development review board and they never requested it, so.
Right, but does that, does the state go back now that they've passed all this stormwater stuff?
I couldn't speak on the state's behalf on that.
Yeah. So, just to protect the town's interest, that's all. So yeah, that's a question that you'll have to find out. You know, we will check on our end with our lawyer, but I would at least think you'd all want to be on a document to share the responsibility.
Would it be of our best interest, or Pete's best interest, I should say, that his engineer come to our next meeting? And he could speak better on questions that we're trying to get answered in the room on.
You certainly could, yeah. It's welcome to come.
Probably be more utility to have them speak over the phone first and see if there's any issues that are irreconcilable, or whether they're in agreement of this, that, and whatever, so maybe better things to wait and see what the information looks like before we invite people to the meeting, or they can come if they want, obviously.
On that stormwater, never needed it before thing, that's the whole problem with 90% of all this. Gone on so long, everything's changed.
Yeah.
Now we're stuck in the end, still not got nothing. 20 years later, it might close and they're gonna pave it 2 more houses. Gotta pave it. That was 20 years ago. So,
I know it's frustrating. Okay, anything else? Okay, we are going to move on with the
Thank you.
meeting.
Thank you for coming.
Put your email down there. I didn't write your email down. You might want to read your email. See you next time. Oh, yeah. So Sharon, there's somebody that jumped on Zoom during all of that I may be waiting to hear on the transfer station. You want to recap? I think Justin jumped on after you made that announcement, but before, while this was going on. So-
Guaranteed, I'd like to understand that when we're not there, something's wrong.
I was not happy.
You can look at it if you want.
I'm not happy.
All right, thank you for your time, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Bye, Kathy.
Bye-bye.
Sharon, I got stuck, somebody brought me in, I was stuck at the baseball for 40 minutes. I had a couple things that was going on at the Monument Road, which I think you guys guys would like to hear. I would have been here if I didn't get blocked in.
Okay.
It was worth it though, we won.
We won. It was a good game. But I was not happy. Okay, first thing, the state came down yesterday in front of my property, and they put 2 signs up. And this is exactly what the sign said. This property is designated as a state archaeological landmark ground. Disturbance, hunting, fishing, and dumping are prohibited. Vermont Division for Historical Reservation. They put 2 signs on that property yesterday. Second one, we've had a lot going on down the road. The Missisquoi Valley Wildlife Refuge are planting 2,000 trees down by Larry Trombley's place, that whole open field. They are going to be there from Saturday 9 to 3 if somebody wants to go down there and help them. They are going to be down there again on Saturday to plant those 2,000 trees. They started it today. And I stopped, and only I stopped to see what was going on, and I told them I was going to be at the select board, and I was going to bring it to the board, so people is aware of this, they want to go down and help. They're going to be there Saturday from 9 to 3. So that's all I really have to say. It's just I wanted to let you know what's going on that road.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah, there she is.
Justin? Are you tuning in for a decision on the transfer station construction bid?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I'm sorry we had moved that up in case people were staying on because we knew we were gonna have a long hearing, but the bid has gone to Wright's Excavating for $1,989,600.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay. Michael Johnson in the corner is our zoning administrator. So he has come to give us an update.
Mike, I'm Scott, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Wow.
Gary, know each other well. So I just wanted to come in, haven't seen the board since I think last time we talked about Coeur d'Alene. Just give a general overview update. From my perspective, everything's been going well. One thing I did want to bring up to the select board just for consideration is the potential for possibly down the road looking at an ordinance requiring any zoning violation complaints be submitted in writing. At our last zoning administrator roundtable that I put on for all the ZAs in Grand Isle, Franklin County, that was one that came up that apparently has shown great success in other communities in helping the timeline of events with tracking violations, as well as legal perspective for the town, just having that clear, this is the moment the violation began. A lot of the violations that come in through Highgate are usually spoken complaints, where someone may not want their neighbor to know they're complaining, which I can understand the want for anonymity, which that is always an option to leave your name off a written complaint. That is something we spoke about at the ZA roundtable that I wanted to bring up here and see if the select board, if that's something they want to enact down the road. I think one area that it could be extremely useful in, not to worry anybody, this isn't me saying that, you know, come June you're not gonna have me, but, you know, I'm not gonna be here forever. So having that in there could be extremely useful in following up with complaints. If you do have turnover for a zoning administrator, to be able to pick up, okay, this was the complaint, not have to decipher somebody's chicken scratch. Some of my notes, I use shorthand to make notes, sometimes might be a little hard to decipher. Just an idea that I had that spoke with an RPC about at our meeting, and it seemed to be something that other communities have taken advantage of, and has, I guess, been success. I don't have any exact case studies or examples.
Well, it only makes sense.
And then if there's,
Right.
and if there's any question the board has for me having me in front, I would want to kind of stray away from any specific direct questions about potential violations, just for the sake of property owners that may be involved. But anything overused, anything the board would like to know.
Well, I know that planning and the DVR have long wanted to change some of the zoning bylaws. So we'd like to get together, the three boards, because there are some things that really make sense to change. You know, and some concerning things or things that need clarification. So it would be nice if the DVR and yourself could have some written notes or whatever, so that when we meet, we can kind of have a discussion about, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, what are you talking about, what do you mean that's on the, you know.
Absolutely. I do have a running list currently
Okay, good.
from the Development Review Board, as well as when we had a joint meeting with the Planning Commission.
Yes.
I think it was around December, not this past December, I think the prior year. So I do have
The planning commission wants to know what happened. They were waiting for you guys to come back, so I know that was a scheduling thing. but-
I think in
Yeah.
the Development Review Board has the same
Yes.
mindset of what happened.
Yeah.
I know there is some scheduling conflicts for myself not being able to attend planning commission meetings, because the night they have that meeting, I have DRB in Sheldon. So it's very hard for me to commit to a planning commission meeting, but you know, I'm only, I'm not on the board and.
Right.
And the DRB starting to get super busy again.
Yeah.
We're already full for May. So,
Could I just add one thing to it?
Yes.
The highway department has nothing to do with the development until all the houses are, I say the first house is built. They build a $400,000 house, then they apply for the driveway permit. So how do you, in, like Corey Lane, for example, the road was built, I don't know, do they need a permit to build the main, like Corey Lane? Or we only give driveway permits out when they build a house? You know, then houses come off of Corey Lane, you know, or onto Corey Lane.
So
I just, in their, you know, their site of view, that's something I try to, but we've had to fudge it on some because they got a $400,000 house and they don't have the site distance. I think that's very important that it's either looked into or part of the process.
Right. And I think too, the whole idea that.
If we're gonna change things, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I'm bringing it up now, not wait.
Yeah.
Say, oh, I should have.
Yeah. And to speak just a little bit backwards, but to let people who are buying homes and developments know that we're not necessarily going to take your road over.
Totally agree.
You know, but you should have your road up to standards because fire truck, ambulance, and everything has to come. Or it has to have the ability to come.
That's why they've done it the way they do it with the third house. They have to.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
And so my thought process would be, I would think they would still have to get an access, so a driveway permit or an access permit for coming off Ford Road. That's correct.
Right, that's what, because there's a development going right now, and the people were in yesterday asking me, do they need a driveway permit for that street? I said, I know you need one for the 911 number. When I issue the driver permit, then they give you the 911 number, but I'm not sure on the.
And that could just be a procedural issue that maybe got lost somewhere in the town of Highgate. I know in Sheldon, we don't have driveway permits, we have access permits, so it would be that for the road. Because then, once that comes in for the road, so I'm the E911 coordinator up there, that's when I assign it the road name, once the road name is approved by the town.
Because the engineer draws up the road,
Yep.
and I don't know if they put where the driveways are supposed to be too, but just a question I had, does the street have to have a street permit as part of the development review board or the planning commission?
So I know when they review the developments for the development review board, there's really been no talk of like getting access off the road. I know it comes up when it's off a state road because V-Trans has an access permit that they would have to obtain.
Right.
Where V-Trans would approve the access off their road. I know there's certain things that come up, obviously paving is a big one that come up during development review board meetings. For developments, a recent one that seems to, which is good that it's been coming up at recent meetings, is emergency responder access, making sure that fire trucks can get down there and whatnot. But again, it might just be something where maybe tightening up all the processes is needed, and maybe it's finding a time, trying to get different town departments together and really hashing out how we want to work things. Because I know sometimes there can be that disconnect between the different departments of is it this person's job, is it this person's, and maybe it's that we all share a portion of that, but it can sometimes get lost. Like driveway permits, it comes to me, then it goes to you, then it comes back to me, then it goes to the listers. So something where that many hands passing, it's easy for the process to get lost over time.
And it has happened.
It has happened. It has happened since I've been here.
Okay. Any other questions for Mike? And yes, Mike splits his time between us and Sheldon.
Thank you.
On top of my other duties. So.
Okay. Thank you very much.
It was great to see everyone again. I'll try to make this more of a regular thing. Maybe every 3 months I could come in. I'm not sure what the board would like, how often to see me, just to get kind of touch base and go over any issues, discrepancies, anything that the board maybe needs me to do better, or complaints that maybe need to be addressed with my own job performance.
Yeah. Mike actually is a contractor through Northwest Regional Planning. So there was a little disconnect as to who speaks to who in the process, but we'll attempt to speak to you.
I mean, I'm not sure how my boss there, PC, want to handle that. I know they're supposed to be like quarterly and yearly reporting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Happens. So, but I am happy to be here. I'm working in Highgate, so I live in the community. So
It's not boring, is it, sir?
no, never a boring day. Never a boring day. So, but,
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take my leave now.
All right.
See you Monday.
See you Monday.
Yeah.
Okay. Wendy?
Yay! Okay, so you have 2 sets of minutes. Your last regular meeting was Thursday, April 6th.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to read the minutes?
Yeah.
All those, or can I have a motion to sign?
I'll make that motion.
I'll say.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have meetings for April 17th, which was our emergency meeting. Do I have a motion to sign?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Okay. So welcome to Scott and Mary, both brand newbies. First time we've had 5 people in these chairs in a while. So, very good. I just have some miscellaneous updates because there is a lot going on in town. Green Up Day is Saturday, May 6th. We do have Green Up bags. They are in the lobby. There's some outside here at the drop box, and they're also at the library.
And if you bring your garbage to the municipal building, your Green Up bag garbage, you'll get free Ben & Jerry's ice cream.
And that's from 11 to 1
Yes,
on Saturday, May 6th here in the parking lot.
yes.
Okay. So that's a pretty good deal, boys and girls. Bring your full Green Up bags in exchange for ice cream.
That's right.
Household Hazardous Waste Day, that's a mouthful. Saturday, May 13th from 8 to 2 at the Sand Shed location on Transfer Station Road. That is an event put on by Northwest Solid Waste District, so questions and pricing and items that are accepted should go through them. The brush depot is open. It's been busy. People are cleaning up their yards. During the week, please call to make an appointment and we'll let them know you're coming. Before 2 o'clock during the week, and leaves and branches, no stumps, no huge limbs, things that these gentlemen can chip off when they get around to it. Open positions, we're doing really well on that list. We now have a full select board. We have one lister position that we still would like to get an interested person in there. It's very limited hours. They typically work 1 day a week, some more in busier times of year. Pete would eventually like to retire. He's 82. He loves it, but he'd like to retire. Planning Commission, we will have 1 seat coming open. Ken Thompson is moving. His last meeting with us will be in May. We have NRPC and TAC seats and Communication Union District seats. I will let you know that just today I did have someone tell me we have a letter coming from someone who would like to fill the Planning Commission seat and also serve on the NRPC board for us.
Great.
So hopefully that letter will come through when we can put those on the list as well. Our school board position that was open has been filled by Kelly Badeau. I swore her in the other day, so school board is now full. So things are good. Heidi asked me to start advertising again for the community participation events that the Village Corps is going to be holding. May 17th and September 13th. They call them charrettes.
Yes.
Okay. Those will be here in this room. I don't know where they're going to put everyone, but
Maybe it'll be a nice day.
you can go out and
That's right.
And I don't know if you're going to get into this at any point later, but the town administrator job is posted.
Okay.
That will be in the Messenger tomorrow. It was in the Courier today. It is on our website around town, on VLCT's website, Vermont Department of Labor's website, our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and I've shared it with surrounding towns.
Okay.
So hopefully we get some interest. I have gotten 1 so far. So that's open until filled is the way it is worded. And I think that's it for me.
Okay. All right. So, we've already done the transfer station construction award. So we'll go on to the check warrant for Shelley. Has everyone had a chance to look at the check warrant? Okay, we have a motion to sign.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Who seconded that?
Mary.
Okay.
Okay. We also have a St. Albans City contract for the next year for signature. Has everyone had a chance to review that? Okay. Do we have a motion to sign that?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
What did we come up with on that?
This is a 1-year contract only.
Yeah.
It's for 26 hours, and I can't remember the cost.
The hourly rate I have in the last meeting minutes,
Okay.
so I can get that. So
Hourly,
it's a 1-year contract through June of 2024?
Correct.
Okay.
At which time we will no longer be together.
Okay.
Sharon, I thought the hours were down to 24 instead of 26. But I can remember from the last select board meeting.
We talked about it, but I think,
Okay, I just.
but I think we decided to leave it at 26.
Because I don't think they were even,
Yeah.
Meeting.
that.
okay.
Meeting, that's right.
Okay. There. I'm just gonna pass the main sheet down for signature for the police contract. Alright, Shelley did produce a budget, that has been uploaded in case you're interested in to which point our budget is, but things look very good so far, so that's very promising. We also have the budget for the FEMA buyout that just came in today, which needs signature. And this is for the 28 Mill Hill property, so the property behind us. To get that all going. Do I have a motion to sign, or does anyone have any
I'll make
questions?
that motion.
All right, all those in favor say aye. As you can tell, we're very excited to have that part done.
Very happy.
Wish I had a gavel. Yeah, Sue, I just looked, it's 26 hours.
See, I didn't lose it, did I?
Very good, very good.
Hey, you guys are gonna miss me, I know you are.
Where you going?
I'm having surgery, I got one more meeting.
One more.
I'm
Okay, we also have
You'll
a,
be able to watch us?
we also have a letter for Ken Thompson, who is resigning from our planning commission because he is moving. So if you would please sign the letter as well.
I just got a text from Mike, I'm coming back, I forgot my water bottle. It's right over there. It's funny.
Hopefully you didn't go too far with me.
He just lives across the street from the airport.
Oh,
Oh, really?
I didn't know you were here.
Yep. We gonna do mess with him?
No. I'll be the bathroom person.
And we have submitted a letter to District 8 for V-Trans saying that we would request an extension of the 35-mile-per-hour zone near Missisquoi Valley Union High School so that it's not an abrupt change of speed there. It gives people a chance to slow down before they hit a car entering or exiting.
So heading west.
Correct.
Yep.
So we have submitted that. And we have already looked at the local emergency management plan once, but this is our, I believe, our final time just to update our members. So, I can see a problem already.
Yeah, the rec director.
Yep, that's exactly right, so that needs to be changed.
There's 2, 3 different ones that.
Yeah, and there was an update to the Jolly one too. I had given it to Heidi, but she must have missed it.
What page, Mary?
There's 2 places it is, under the convenience store and it's under the underground tank storage.
Okay, yeah.
And so the new person is Brian Gamache. I gotta look up his number.
Gamache, G-A-M-A-C-H.
Correct, and I wanna say, why is his name?
CUG.
Everybody else is. I will probably have to get that correction. I thought I had his number
Okay.
in here. Supposed to be in here.
For underground tank and,
See it in here, I will get that. I thought I had it in here. I did send it to Heidi, but I'll look.
so we asked if there's any other corrections, let's get those corrected because you never know when you need to find these people. Right, Sue?
Right,
We've been there, done that.
we've done that.
January of 2018.
God, seems like a long time ago.
5 years now.
Yeah,
'Cause I remember Landis was out of work with you.
that's right.
He came in with me because I couldn't babysit him from here, so I made him come there.
There's a few things on the equipment actually, but I just went over that. There's a few pieces they didn't have on there.
Heidi asked me to talk about the paving bids, but
I have,
I didn't see where she was.
I might have a copy of that. Right here.
Kind of messed up.
Yeah, this is the corrected one. It was St. Armand Road that was,
Yeah, Rainville Road. It went out, the bid was off. Salmon Road, I made a mistake on Salmon Road.
Okay, so this is the corrected one. Well,
the
we'll
one
get it first.
underneath it is the first one. That's got a big X to it.
Salmon from Gunny Road to Compliment Road, it's incorrect. It's approximately 6,700 feet. Starting out the Gunny Road, going 2,000 feet for the shin. You want this or you can.
Right here, stay here and let's correct it together.
That was 67
Yeah?
and 2,000. And I think we corrected the Rainville Road, yes. It's 3,500 feet. And
Is that?
that just needs an inch and a half overlay. It's not terrible.
Okay.
22 feet wide for 1,800 feet, and then 1,700 feet at 18 feet.
Okay.
So, because this was the first one, so it was that,
Yeah.
and she changed
That was her
it to
mistake.
that, and now it's this?
Yeah, it's that was my mistake.
Okay.
We had.
Just making sure.
Come in and
So-
call me and said something's not right.
We're gonna have to extend that,
Yes.
due
That's,
next week.
right.
So you, yeah, you,
I called the ones that, you know, usually come, and, wow, it was a hurried up process. Pike usually comes just to help us determine, you know, how many roads.
Right.
I mean, we run into that trouble last year. They did come and help me, and we went around, looked at the roads and, you know, what we should do. And then it was kinda, we had more shimming, and Pike did help us considerably. We got all the paving that we wanted done. We just didn't do as much shimming. You know, we did it where it needed it, so. But that's why they usually measure with me. I ride with them, they measure everything, they know how to ride it.
Right.
That's like I say, half my, Heidi and I had a hard.
Can't let you two out alone, can I?
Because they're due next Thursday, and if it's not even posted correctly, we're gonna have to redo that.
Right, that was my question, you know, do we need to?
Is there a, deadline for?
Well, I would imagine the quicker you
that
get in
she's
the
gotta get it
hopper.
in there?
Because we posted it originally on the second page, what does it say? Up in the corner, what was the date?
13th.
We posted it on the 13th, and then she had me correct it, and we reposted it
On the 17th.
on the 17th, due on the
I
27th.
don't think we talked the other day, but I don't think she reposted,
No,
this in Emerald,
No.
so.
that's the most recent one
And
right
won't-
there, so we gotta do that again.
The
Okay.
paving won't be done until after July 1st, we don't.
We don't have the money
The
anyways.
money won't be there till after July 1st, so.
Okay,
I was
so
just trying to get it
can
done before she left.
can we bump the date out,
Because if we don't
Another
get
week.
it, at this point, we won't get it reposted till probably Monday.
yeah.
Another
Meet
week, we'll
again.
give you your next meeting.
You meet again May 4th. Is that enough time? Or do you want to,
I think so, you know, the major players are,
if we get it out,
Yes.
what's Monday's date, the 24th?
Monday's the 24th.
Yeah.
Because I can leave that for her. She must have that saved on her computer where she can fix it. We can get it reposted and then just bump out the due date.
Yeah,
Okay.
Also gonna have a copy of the deed.
Third time will be the charm, I think.
Kids get a copy of that.
yeah, yeah. Alright, so we'll make a copy for after.
You want
So-
the homer, my.
Anything else for the select board?
Are we gonna, did you get the letter from Shayna Siegel on the ANCO question?
I think that was sent to you, to
Right,
Sharon,
it's
to
not
Mike, and to me.
Yeah, that I haven't come to the board.
Okay,
Oh, that's fine.
so we'll just add it next time, is that what you're saying?
Because it went to you as a health
officer,
officer.
I
Yeah.
wasn't working with her, trying to clean up that part.
It sounded like she wasn't expecting the town to want to take that on, but they had to ask, but I will let you guys decide.
Yeah, I haven't got that far into it, but
Okay,
I was dealing with the cleanup
yeah,
and the water issues.
okay. So if you want, either one of you wants to share it, send it to the rest of the board, maybe you can talk about it
Okay.
at another time.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Okay, so I would ask for a very short executive, and ask that, Butch be a part of that. So, can I have a motion to adjourn the regular select board meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And enter into executive with
Wendy.
Butch first, so.